is there a recommended path in Islam for a career? There are a hadith from the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which he has very strongly recommended commerce, and business and trading has been very highly recommended by the Prophet of Islam. There is an honor that is placed on any type of hard work, and our Imams themselves, starting from Amir al-Mu'mineen Imam Ali alayhi salam, they used to personally work in agriculture. They used to do hard labor. Even today, there are different areas in the vicinity of Medina where the land was dead land, dry land, and it was made fertile by Amir al-Mu'mineen, who personally dug wells. And there is an area in Medina which is known as Abyaru Ali or Abaru Ali, the wells of Ali. According to some narrations, it was in that vicinity where dead land was made fertile by Imam Ali himself, and he personally dug those wells. Many of our Imams, including our seventh Imam, they used to go regularly and physically work in the fields. This is at the time when they had servants, and a large number of servants at their service in Medina, but they would physically work as well. But in spite of the Islamic recommendation for labor, for agriculture, the honor that is placed on those, the greatest recommendation from the Prophet and from the Imams is to engage in commerce. In the first place, it introduces people to new environments, new lands, and that is something which Islam has very highly recommended. The Quran itself, when it talks about our reward in the hereafter, it uses many times commercial analogies. That a person who is going to achieve salvation, it is like doing a very profitable trade. It is like selling your soul for the very best price. So this is something which the Quran has recommended. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. Khusr is a commercial term, profit and loss. So rib is profit and khusr is loss, and those are the terms that are used in Quran for salvation. So directly and indirectly, Islam has emphasized the importance of commerce for individual spiritual advancement and also for the best interests of the Muslim Ummah. And that is one reason why Islam has dedicated a portion of zakat which is specifically used for people who have fallen into hardships because they were traveling. There is no requirement that traveling be for Hajj or for ziyarat or for something like that. A person who is traveling even for business or for any other reason, if they fall into hardship, if they don't have enough to return to their homes, then they can receive zakat. And even if they are wealthy in their own homeland, they can receive zakat and there is no debt on them that they have to consider it a loan and pay it back when they reach their home. It is good if they do it, but that is one of the places where zakat can be spent. So Islam has created both a value system and even an economic support system to encourage people to engage in trade. But whatever profession a person might choose, the most important thing is for us to try to achieve the very best level of our potential. And the greatest problem that people have is that they think of their professional life as simply an obligation, something that is not important. And excellence in anything that we do, that is one of the highest Islamic values. Whether it be education goals, whether it be professional, even economic goals, Islam wants us to achieve excellence to the extent that we are able to do so. That does not mean that our thoughts should always be about our economic advancement. No, we should keep it within that area that Allah wants us to keep it. We shouldn't overemphasize it. But within that dimension, we should want to excel. And so that's something that a true believer will never ignore. if a person is mediocre in their studies, or if they're mediocre in their job, and they spend their extra time praying or fasting or doing something else, then they are a mediocre Muslim. Because they are mediocre in one of the tasks that they have within their life. It's just like if I were to be an excellent person professionally, but I'm mediocre or negligent with my family. As a human being, in our Islamic evaluation, we won't say that person is successful. We'll say that person, they are as good as they are in all of their roles. So the most important thing that we should look at first is there a field that we can excel at, that meets our values, our talents, our abilities, and that we can excel at. Among those fields that we can excel, there are certain areas that Islam has encouraged us to pursue more than others, and that is something that it's important for us to look at when we are choosing a career or looking at different opportunities that we have. We should keep in mind the hadith of the Prophet that for my ummah, there is barakah and there is blessings in trade and in commerce. That is something which the Prophet has mentioned in a hadith, because the Prophet's ummah was meant to be a global ummah, a universal ummah, not limited to one place or one area or one time. So that is, in brief, the Islamic perspective on what types of jobs and careers are